Did Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA team up with a sex offender to sponsor the most recent Pastor Summit in Nashville, as Rolling Stone magazine has accused them over the weekend? In this video, we get into it. So here's the headline from Rolling Stone. Over the weekend, Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA teamed up with a registered sex offender. Kirk decried the sexualization of kids at his Pastor Summit, for instance, relative to the Target dispute recently. The founder of one of its sponsors, however, was convicted of attempted coercion and enticement of a minor. And what Rolling Stone is specifically pointing to is that one of the sponsors of the summit, alongside firms like Patriot Mobile and American Christian Credit Union, is an apparel company called Right Side Up Apparel, a Christian lifestyle apparel company that reads in the tags that they put on the clothing, "Be strong in the Lord," in its t-shirts and other clothing. We have a life story, and it doesn't matter where we've been, it's where we're going that counts, according to Right Side Up Apparel. And the reason why they're saying it doesn't matter where they've been is because the CEO of Right Side Up Apparel, Mr. Berkstrand, has a prison conviction in his life story. He's actually a registered sex offender in North Dakota and will be until the year 2030. He was convicted in 2014 of coercion and enticement of a minor. And if you go over to Web Archive, you can actually see that Sean Berkstrand, 34, which was 10 years ago, so now he's 44, was charged with a Class A felony in 2013 relative to a sexual encounter with a minor. But with any hit piece, you always have to ask yourself, where did the news outlet get the information, right? Did Rolling Stone discover this themselves, or were they tipped off? And that's where the story gets very interesting, because Rolling Stone admits that they got tipped off by a professor who is basically very disappointed that Turning Point USA has shifted its focus, let's just say, from economic issues like, Milton Friedman, University of Chicago, economic type of things, to a faith-based approach in recent years. And Rolling Stone also seems to share that consternation. In fact, Rolling Stones admit they got tipped off by this professor, Matthew Boweedy, I'm going to say Boweedy, from the University of North Georgia, who has also written extensively about Turning Point USA's odd leap from an economic to a religious dogma. In other words, he's a professor who has it out for Turning Point USA and Charlie Kirk. So what does Charlie Kirk have to say? In a tweet over the weekend, here he wrote, "What a joke. Let's set the record straight. First, I've never met this person. He was one of our many exhibitors at our event. He's not a corporate sponsor, but rather a small business trying to market his company." Actually, he seems like a corporate sponsor and somebody who's trying to market his company. Look at the Turning Point USA Pastor Summit website. And here it is right here. Room sold out. You got a big long list of speakers. And then at the bottom of the page, you have your thank you to sponsors, and including here are America's Christian Credit Union, Patriot Mobile, and Right Side Up. I think it's unfair to say that they're not a corporate sponsor. Quite clearly, they are grouped with the corporate sponsors. I think it is fair to say they are a corporate sponsor. Back to Charlie's tweet. "I'm told from the team that coordinates exhibitors that he's a nice person who did something wrong over a decade ago, and unlike Target, he repented with the experience that led him to his faith. Good for him, that's the gospel." Lastly, he doesn't hide what happened. He tells his own story on his website, and the jerks at Rolling Stone took that public testimony and called it an exclusive. And Charlie continues, "They did that unfairly to smear him and play gotcha with me and Turning Point USA faith." Now, to be fair, looking at the Right Side Apparel website, there's really no reference to Mr. Bergstrand's legal troubles in the past. There is a video where he, how do I want to say this, is incredibly obtuse about something that happened sometime in the past. Watch.
See, Right Side Up Apparel was born out of my testimony. Some of the darkest days of my life. At one time in my life, I lost absolutely, completely everything. And all these things started to keep happening that I had no control over. But more and more things kept happening in my life I had no control over. So more and more things kept happening. And as these things kept happening in my life that I had no control over, I questioned my faith.
Now, in Charlie Kirk's defense, Mr. Bergstrom never mentions that he's a convicted sex offender, nor, in my opinion, is he contrite about that, because he continues to say these things were out of my control. That does not seem like true repentance. Charlie Kirk continues, Rolling Stone should be ashamed, trash outlet that published trash hit pieces about an event they didn't witness and know nothing about. Now, most certainly, forgiveness and repentance are key tenets, you might even say the key tenets of the Christian faith. On the other hand, you have to ask yourself, once again, where did this story come from? It came from this college professor that seems to have this weird fixation upon Turning Point USA and Charlie Kirk. Rolling Stone would have never written this article if it wasn't for the college professor. So, I think the big picture lesson here is that you've got to vet your corporate sponsors a little bit more carefully, because there are plenty of people out there that on the left that are going to, exaggerate things for their own purposes, and try to make you look like a hypocrite, which is exactly what Rolling Stone tried to do here. I'm not sure how Charlie Kirk or Turning Point USA would have known about this event, this conviction from 10 years ago, but I'm pretty sure that Right Side Apparel may not be a sponsor in the future, and also that Turning Point USA will probably be much stricter in who they allow to be sponsors for future events. Okay, so I'm John F. Gately. You can call me Jack, broadcasting to you from beautiful Plymouth, America's hometown in Massachusetts. Have a great day.